All right, we're gonna do Mystical Journey Oracle cards today. Today is also a Galactic Activation Portal Day, which is kind of nice and needed after we're in this weird eclipse equinox integration space. So it's kind of needed, and you're probably gonna feel really good that we're actually hitting this space. We'll talk about that as soon as I get started. If you're just finding me, take a second to say hi, leave a comment, connect with the energies, especially if you're trying to get cards and things like that. Make sure you're also hitting the share button, especially if you're trying to get cards. And just give me 1 minute while I share this video out. So I was posting about today's specific Galactic Activation Portal Day. They all carry a different, obviously, energy signature and frequency. And today is especially good for manifesting. We're literally only a couple days into fall too. And I feel we kind of go through I don't want to call it a seasonal shift and reset. It's like, okay, I always say it's a little bit like high school. I hate to say that, but they call it the school, right? It's a little bit like going into a new semester and going into the new. So, you know, you probably feel that we spent a lot of September kind of wrapping up the old and closing things out and clearing cycles. And now we're kind of stepping into or shifting into some new energies, which are really needed. And of course, a new season, which is kind of exciting. So today is all about the seeds that we are planting. I put an article up about today's specifically energy, which I always can get on board with. Anything manifesting, I think we have to keep on going as we go too with the manifesting. So today is especially powerful for, I always say, healing activation work, and of course the manifesting energies too coming at it. So make sure you're putting good thoughts and intentions out there. You are planting little seeds like flowers. You're planting your seeds today, which I know it doesn't always make sense because we always think of that in spring, but trust me, you're planting your seeds right now, and they're going to blossom and bloom into whatever it is that you're trying to bring through. So it's a good time for putting out good intentions right now too, but it is a Galactic Activation Portal Day. We don't have that many this month. I believe we have one coming up I think it was like the 27th, but we don't have a ton of them this month. We want to be tapping in. On these days, the veil goes really, really thin, and we're able to kind of tap into more. So pay attention, because you're going to get more downloads, insights, clarity on your path. So I brought these cards, Mystical Journey, for clarity on your path. Right? Okay, so we'll just kind of see what is going on, but real fast, check out my website, sparksofdivinelighealing.com. I do so much work on there to keep it good for you guys. Right? I have a nice little blog. I don't always think of it as a blog, but I post things on it. I post little energy updates, and I have a nice little blog on there. And of course, I have my shop if you need to get any healings, activations, clearings. I do psychic readings. I teach classes like Reiki and Sakama. I have a ton of classes on there. So make sure you guys are checking out my website, sparksofdivinelighealing.com. I'm an energy healer. I have tons of healings, clearings, and activations on there. I have pinned on today's video the ones I have for today. I spend a lot of work making sure everything is up to date. You can do anything in my shop anytime. It's always current and everything like that too. I just put a bunch of stuff up yesterday too. New drop if you want to check it out. I have lots of stuff up for today. When you are navigating my website, go with what you're guided to. It's all really, really going to help you. And I do have a search bar in it too. Like, that's how I find anything on there. If you're looking for something in specific, you can go ahead and use the search bar on my shop too. Okay, so we're doing Mystical Journey Oracle. If you guys are able to sign up and be a supporter or send PayPal donations or stars, please do. It helps to keep this page running, literally. So if you're sending stars, I'm going to try to give you a psychic shout out. Once again, just in case you missed it, we're doing Mystical Journey Oracle. Just kind of grabbed it. So you guys can always send stars just because, helps a ton. But let's see what we got going on. Oh, I see Terry. Good morning. And I should put it on here. My thing's always glitching lately, and it says the name like 20 times. So maybe I was meant to see, but let's start out with Terry. Inspiration. Beautiful cards too. I thought they might be a little interesting today. Okay, pay attention, because you're going to get I call them light bulb moments, aha ideas. How do you think any invention was sent to earth? And like, anytime it's time for us to go through an upgrade, and we have shown that we are like getting along enough to handle an upgrade in certain areas, you're going to get this through like aha moments sent from your spirit guides, and these can be powerful ideas that you have, and this can come in all different forms. It could be like the next level being revealed, or I should do this, or I have this great business idea, invention idea. It could be more subtle, like I should be doing this in my life, a little bit of clarity on your path, coming to, I love this because we're still in this reveal energy from the eclipse. So combined with all these energies, the veil is really, really thin. It continues to be as we move in towards, I don't want to say it yet, but October, it's an okay time of year. I was kind of laying out the next couple of months in a conversation I was having about, you know, what this year will look like. But anyways, so the veil is really, really thin. So we're getting the reveal moment still. If there's something in your life you need to see a little more deeply, where you want to go, where you're going, these things are coming through very strongly still, as we're still in those very much eclipse and equinox energies, integrating them. And then of course, combined with today's galactic energies, we're getting a lot of clarity. Now, I'm going to put this out there. I was saying this in an earlier video. Some of you might be moving a little slow still, which is okay as you're kind of integrating all of these heavy energies too. But pay attention, because this is a good time for daydreaming, spending time with your thoughts, right? Tapping into and collecting the divine downloads that you're getting, receiving things, picking up on things, and it could just be deeper insights, or it could be even like, you know, bigger ideas. Let's see. Kaylin A, manifestation. Today is a huge, I was talking about a manifestation portal. It's a seed portal. If you're planting seeds, right? You are anyways, with every thought, every intention you're putting out there, it always comes back around, right? This is the karmic cycle. But we can learn, we're learning this stuff and learning how to kind of do better through this knowledge that we're integrating here into the physical. And then we're going to start to have, the more we're doing that work and kind of, you know, having better thoughts. I always talk about reprogramming ourselves, checking negative toxic thoughts and getting rid of them and beliefs. And as we do that inner work, everything outside of you begins to reflect the changes that you're making within. You start to feel a lot better because you're not always, you know, in that stress state. And you begin to manifest a lot better too. This is all about really tapping into your manifesting gifts and abilities, which we all have. We're doing all of the time. And even when life was messy, you were there too, right? And so we're learning to manifest better for ourselves through this, especially with these higher frequency energies, making it a lot easier. So you're being guided for this person to really tap into the energies of the third eye, the gifts of the third eye. This is the clairs, the clairvoyance, but also manifestation gifts and abilities. You visualize it, it happens. And so visualization is a powerful tool, sending out intentions. You could use prayer, manifesting lists, getting clear with the universe, whatever style works for you. Being guided to delve into your gifts a little bit deeper. So this is kind of like opening up your gifts more, we'll say, and tapping into them even more. Crystal Ramirez. Self-care, make sure that you're taking care of yourself. Or in Libra season, it might be highlighting ways that you've been overgiving, overextending, pouring too much into other people, or just neglecting your own needs in some type of way. And it doesn't even have to be like anything materialistic. It could be, you know, I feel we've done a lot of this year, 2025, trying to get in a good routine with ourselves, your day to day, what you do. Usually we have a little bit of things we do every day. Like, okay. And how you show up for yourself. I was just putting this in another video too. It could be like doing really good things for yourself, like weaving the spiritual into your day, energy healing, meditation, things that you need to feel a lot better or to stay in that higher frequency. It could just be like if you're overworking, taking time to prioritize rest and your health and things like that. It just kind of depends. But we're realizing why we've been taught self-care is so, so important. And these things that we're learning, the things I talk a lot about on video, are helping us so much. I was having a talk with someone about vitamins last night, and I love to give vitamin tips, and you know, I'm always tweaking my vitamins. I take a lot of vitamins and herbs and things. And I was talking about this, I said, and they were talking to me unrelated about a lot of the older generations, I'm not picking or anything, didn't take very good care of themselves. We see a lot more like illness and health things. But we are the game changer here on planet Earth this time, right now. The star seeds that are here of learning to take better care of ourselves. This is like everyone on this video, right? Learning to take better care of yourself so that doesn't happen with you. That won't be the same future, right? We're here to break deep programming and chains. And so through taking better care of yourself, that leads to better health. Okay. And this could be, that's Virgo season, right? Things that you've been focused on. So I would say for this person and everyone to pay attention. We just came out of Virgo season, to any themes that were coming up in your life. And as a healer, I've learned, sometimes it's like, getting rid of toxicity, like, that things aren't good for you, and, getting a little more healthy. But sometimes healing is not as obvious, right? It's like following your spiritual guidance. If you're being guided to shift something, to check something, to get rid of something, lose something, that kind of stuff, it might not be good for you on the energy level too. So our energy is also a reflection of our health too. And so when we're really good energetically, you won't be sick. And so, sick, got to work on your energy. So the two are very, very connected, we're finding too. And so this is how you're taking care of yourself and your energy. We're learning that we're energetic beings, and we have to take care of our actual energy. It's not just always, it is the physical body, don't get me wrong on that, but we're also learning we need to pour into ourselves energetically too. And there's a lot that we can end up, I talk about empty cup. When you've given away all you have, like, let's just think of the glass of water, I always say, and you've given away every drop, you have nothing left to give, whether this is for other people, your family, job, whatever, you're going to be very drained at that point. So we're needing to learn how to refill our cup, and we're talking energy, right? And so, as we are, going through life and putting our energy and focus into things, obviously we need to learn how to recharge ourselves a little bit better too, and kind of fill our cup. Energy healing, right, is the most amazing thing we can do to pour back into ourselves, or to help us as we're navigating a lot of higher frequency energies coming into the planet, where we're needing to integrate that and embody it and raise our vibrational frequency and go through this whole process while we're doing all of that stuff we were just talking about. Make sure that you're taking care of yourself and making also your energy. Yeah, this is like how you're taking care of yourself in all ways, but also your energy, making that a priority and a focus, and you're going to start to, feel a lot better, we'll say. Okay, Sarah S. Inner child, and I'm loving this because we have a lot of inner child patterns that we've been playing out that have become our patterns, and sometimes we realize that, and like the pieces start to click through our external, and sometimes we're not realizing that, and it's like just things that we need to go more into. Okay, I like to think of your solar plexus as your inner child chakra. Now, this chakra also has a lot to do with our own emotions, emotional attunement, and of course our partners, right? And it's our empath chakra as well too. So when we clear out all of the negative energies and emotions that we've stored within the body, all these dense energies that come up, I think that's why a lot of times people feel it in their stomach at times too when they're purging, right? And with Ascension symptoms and stuff like that, because we're cleansing out the physical body and it's energy. We've stored a lot of negative trauma-based energy and things we've been through that weren't great experiences from the past, and inner child trauma and ancestral trauma and all of it. And it's kind of stored in the body. And as we're moving into these higher frequency energies, a lot gets triggered to the surface to heal. And some of this we're consciously aware of it, and some of it's kind of on the energy level that might be weighing us down, keeping us stuck, keeping us stagnant, or playing out imbalances. We all have to go back into the inner child once we've woken up and heal certain things. And there's amazing benefits that come out of this too. So when you do, you'll have healthier, better relationships. So I deal with a lot of people that are either have gone through toxic relationships or are going through toxic relationships and want to heal in that area. One of the best ways that we can heal in that area is healing our solar plexus to clear it, right? So the more that we are clearing our chakras and releasing, blocks, stuck energy, old energy, we start to vibrate a lot higher and do a lot better, because, what we attract in our life, there's always this energy component to it. And when we're holding on to it, like heavy energies and blocks and karmic imprints, people will come in to dislodge or stir these things or trigger them to the surface, and it's not always the funnest experience. But when we heal more, we don't have to go through the universe using that technique, because we're more conscious and kind of healing and decluttering ourselves. We don't need like, you know, Mr. or Ms. Toxic coming along to, right, as a catalyst to get our attention, because you're already, you know, giving your attention to these areas that need it. For you, healing your solar plexus is going to lead to a lot more higher frequency energy in your life, emotional balance, and healthier connections. But also there's something there within your solar plexus that you might still be kind of dealing with in your energy field. So we think we're done with stuff. We're like, I'm done with that. Like, right? That was 100 years ago. I'm done with that. But unfortunately, when we've been through something traumatic, it's in our energy field, and our energy field is always broadcasting signals to, once again, what we'll attract and who we will attract and things like that too. So maybe something unresolved still, karmically from your childhood, or some type of trauma that you went through. And, you know, these traumas, and this is what I do with the work I do, they could be really, really obvious, but sometimes they're not that obvious. You know, they're repeating patterns in your life that, you know, you might have experienced this. I just did another video and I was talking about our usual type. Usually is someone that will play out our parents' story with us, like literally, till we heal enough and we're like, okay. And that's what karmics do when we're in karmic partnerships and things like that. So they always are connected. So sometimes traumas can be like really obvious, and sometimes they're not. They're the patterns that are still coming up for us here. I'm talking about here and the now, that are connected to. So sometimes we have to go farther into the root of where this comes from to be able to heal certain things in the present that might still be kind of affecting us. So this reading is kind of like a little bit about going back into whatever might still be affecting you now within childhood. Okay, let's see. We're gonna do David Curtin Life Review, and I love this energy because I've been through a lot of this here alive. They say, right, you always think this is when you die, and some of these cards are a little like that. I did see a couple cards before I started to do them. Okay, so Life Review. I feel that we go through this at different places, but this was something I remember I put it in my book. I was trying to go back when I first had a spiritual awakening. It was like that. It was like I could see a lot of other people and more of the big picture, we'll say, okay? And so you can, at different places, your spirit guides might be having you reflect on a lot. It could be things that you've already been through, or kind of reviewing things. This is like your past coming up to see it from a different perspective and things like that. Seeing the big picture of things. This could be like in all different capacities. It's almost like we could describe near-death energy, where people say like their whole life flashed before their eyes, right? It's like that. Well, awakening isn't like that, where we have to sometimes process things that we went through probably when we were asleep as part of our awakening. And I always talk about old memories coming up, and I feel your entire life will come up, not all at once or it would overwhelm you, but as you're working on the course of your spiritual awakening, you're going to have to reflect on probably every experience you've ever had at different times. And the stuff comes up because we're clearing it from the body and the density, as we talked about. Or even just certain situations. It could be certain connections that, you know, and I always think it was the challenging ones, by the way, usually the ones that went great. You're like, okay, yeah, and that you've resolved things. Sometimes when I had this happen with me, and I'm trying to kind of translate it, it was like the challenging connections that were like most affected you, but the most growth might be found there too, right? The most polarity, the most growth. And so it just kind of depends. So oftentimes it was like, you could see like, and I don't mean this, but you could see how you impacted other people in the big picture. And when you were asleep, trust me, you weren't seeing any of that view. You were just, you know, in your victim stuff or whatever. But it's to see like both sides of things, or to see a higher picture, or to kind of learn from that. And so I feel this is something I went through early in my awakening, that you kind of have that life review of your 3D life, of your asleep life, okay? Because there is like a very real line there, and we begin to do the work when we awaken. And so usually it's from when you were asleep and prior to your awakening, but it depends, because I talked about we reflect a lot while awake. Obviously we get on this higher level of consciousness and can kind of see things or see the big picture, but I mean, like, it's almost like once you wake up, you kind of go through an actual life review and kind of process and purge out everything, because you're kind of moving into what we call it higher dimensions of the soul, or higher frequencies, and it's kind of part of the process. And this is stuff we do on the other side, like, not to go there, but that's what everyone will go through when they die, by the way. They're going to go through a certain process. Now, I feel this is where it gets weird with all of us here on Earth, that we're going through a lot of that process here in the physical that we go through every life that we've ever had when we die on the other side. We're very familiar with this process, but we forget oftentimes when we come here to Earth, but it's something we do every lifetime. Okay, so we're really good at this work, and we're bringing this work here into the physical now, and it's like the next level game changer and things like that too. So if you have old stuff, it can be normal that you're processing. It could be all at once, like going through an intense, going within and having thoughts about whatever happened with you, and it could be all at once, or it could be kind of subtle where, you're just having flashback memories come up and old experiences that you're kind of getting higher insight on. And this is part of awakening in a big way. So this is like life review energy, which is something obviously our spirit guides, I feel, will take us through. And it gives us a lot of higher awareness and higher perspective. I don't recall everything I put in my books. I have one I'm writing now, and I put a lot of weird stuff on, because I write a little bit about weird, like, near deaths and things that were going on with me. So, like, I was putting a lot of different stuff in this book. I'm not going to go into that, but I do know that in my earlier books I put up, and they're pinned on my video, I went into this life review specific. I did a chapter on it. I tried to go back into my awakening, because so many people are going through an awakening and the rest are about to. Like, right? The whole planet. And so I know a lot of people are going to awaken without, what's going on with me, right? I'm having all this stuff happen. It's a lot of healing. So I did try to go back in the hopes that, me laying out personal experience might help some people kind of going through this. So I remember doing a chapter on that, and things like that. Tiffany Hudson. Resilience. You are stronger than you think, but you don't always have to be. Okay. You are built strong, but also finding that feminine balance of being a little softer, right? We know you've been through a lot. You're resilient. This is like you can handle whatever lemons life is going to throw at you, and you're drinking lemonade kind of energy, but also you don't need to be. It's time to let down the walls. So this is like my Indigo Warrior card with the sword, and as they say, time to lay the sword down, right? Like you had to battle a lot in the past. And it's like, okay, now, and it's perfect for welcome to Libra season, time for that, peace era of peace we're ushering in from breaking down a lot of the old that we've had to go through. And it doesn't always make sense, big picture, but also remember that it all comes together, big picture of the journey that you had and that everyone is kind of made to get to this place. So it's a little bit of like, you've had to break down a lot of old programming, but time to kind of soften up. Someone's asking about birth details. If you get a reading on my website, yes, like, right? Not on video. So if you do need a reading of any kind, just book on my website. Pretty basic on there under readings too. And yes, my website will ask for that. So yes, on that. Sid, eternal self. And this is all about really connecting with your spiritual self and integrating that into the physical. This is my higher self card. Pay attention right now, because you're getting a lot of, with this galactic activation portal day, you're getting a lot of messages from your higher self to help you with this awakening journey, this ascension journey specifically, to help you with whatever it is. We are releasing karma, clearing out karmic cycles, healing, activating dormant gifts and DNA, and becoming our higher self here in the physical. This is what we wanted to do, right? So a lot kind of going on. Pay attention to you too, of things coming through the higher self. This is my throat chakra card too, and kind of healing your throat to open up your higher self connection. Let's do Chrissy. Rites of passage, and these are the initiations that we go through. I was putting something out that you have to go through a lot. We go through actual tests and initiations. Like sometimes people are aware of that. They're like, I feel like I was being tested by the universe. Sometimes it's to see if you're going to fall back into an old pattern, or you're going to stay leveled up out of it. If you have old stuff that's coming up that is an old cycle from your past. I know so many people that could go through a cycle 10 times, not to pick, and haven't got through it, and they stay stuck on the same karmic cycle or the same lesson. And so it's important that we're passing through certain initiations, and of course it's a little bit like we're learning like our school here, so we have certain lessons to learn and integrate, that build upon the last. It's a little bit, I always describe it like a staircase because we're talking Ascension. You got stairs, right? And you're not going to jump from the first step to 10, right? We're going to walk each level. And it's a little bit like that with your life plan and the courses that you've been through or classes that you've been through and the lessons that you've been through. That, you know, you had to learn something way back here. So when you're up here, you know, you're moving with that new level of awareness. And so, yes, we get tested. We go through challenges to see what we're about. But remember, it's all about empowering you. And so some of the things that you've been through, whether it was to light a fire in you and to motivate you, right? like that's what I get out of all that. You guys see, I'm like, now after I've been through all that, I'm always working hard so I don't end up back there. Or like, it could have lit a fire in you. It could have motivated you. It could have given you what you needed to, from this place, move differently, or, you know, to really embody the lessons that you've been through. So they all serve a purpose. So now when you're in a weird situation, you're going to be like, oh, I'm not doing that. I can see right through it. like, so you've learned a lot from certain lessons that you've had, but we're meant to integrate that into our life. So you're not going back there. Like, you don't need to go back, you know, 10 years ago into your lessons. Now you're like, oh, okay, I can see some red flags because I've had this happen before. Like, I'm going to make a better choice this time, or whatever it is. So just know it serves a purpose, but you're being tested. And these are like spiritual levels and initiations and things. And I don't think they always make sense, but I do know one way that we can always get through them, okay? Like, no matter what it is coming up in your life. And yes, you're put in certain situations. You'll feel tested. You'll feel challenges, maybe under pressure. To listen to your inner guidance. That's going to get you through everything as you go. Doesn't matter what's coming up. Pop quiz. I always tell my clients, like, I'm not there with you usually, I hope. When you're going through this stuff, I can help and I can guide you and I give you people the cheat codes when I do the calls with them, right? And tell them things ahead of time, the cheat codes. But they have to actually do their lessons. That's how it is for everyone. But the one thing that will get you through anything is actually following your inner guidance of what to do. It's when we don't listen to that inner knowing and guidance that we're getting, or we become disconnected from it, right? That we need to reconnect and kind of listen to what it's telling us to do. You'll get through anything and the right way and really fast move up. Now, the thing is, sometimes we can become a little disconnected spiritually. The more that we go within and, you know, cultivate that spiritual connection and activate it, we're going to have much stronger guidance. Okay, we're going to do Sarah. Sanctuary. And I love this because we're going into, not yet, but the cocoon. You might feel that with the eclipse. I could feel it collectively. Things are kind of picking up, but it's like everyone kind of went into the cocoon, or you might be feeling that, like you're just wanting to. And this is part of the healing process. At times you might be kind of a little more in your space, in your bubble, in your head, in your little cocoon, right? And I was kind of feeling that with this shift and things like that too. So just know that this is like really treating yourself. This is my sanctuary card, and making that. I always talk about home being your sanctuary. It is literally your bubble of protection from the outside world, but also treating yourself as that too. Make sure that you have good boundaries. You're respecting yourself. You set the tone for how people treat you. I do a lot of work, once again, with people in not the best situations that come to me. And I always say, you know, a lot of times we allow some of the mistreatment. If you're allowing it, it'll probably continue until you stop it in certain cycles. So we need to have healthy boundaries for ourselves and a lot of self-respect for ourselves to have better friendships, romantic connections, and things like that too. This is your own energy and how you're taking care of yourself and treating yourself, because outside connections are always a reflection of that, but also your home. This is big right now. So bringing beautiful energy into your home. I was talking about a couple of videos ago, like spiritual protection energy, making your home an amazing place. This shift, I was like, personally, just to go ahead, and I don't like to put my own stuff on here, but I was like, did a deep clean of, like, took everything off my shelves of my kitchen. I don't know, spirit guided me, right? Took everything down and scrubbed it all out. And you don't really notice because it wasn't that bad anyway, but I could feel instant shift, like in my space, you know. So sometimes, and I feel that going into the next season, congratulations, we're in fall, we're in a new season, like you might feel guided to deep clean your house, do an energy clearing on yourself. For some of you guys, bring in some new energy. I always, like, big time will throw away things I'm not using, and if I need stuff, and I mean need stuff, I'll bring it in. Like, right? Like, okay, I'm out of a couple things. I'm always like that at this time, like a little squirrel getting ready for the winter or whatever as we're going into the autumn. So you might feel guided to declutter if you have little like, okay, and maybe you don't even have that clutter. Maybe it's just like I said, kind of every once in a while we should probably pull things apart and wipe things down a little bit or whatever. I'm like, oh my God, I had all my stuff everywhere. But surprisingly, I felt a huge shift, right, with it too, because you'll feel a shift in the energy. So even if like, I got rid of like, threw away like 3 things, just wiped things down, put everything back, it was like instant shift. Like, I don't know why, but you know, taking care of your home, and that helps us to kind of declutter energetically, because we tend to spend, I hope, a lot of time there, right? And stuff like that, even if you're just sleeping or whatever there. All right, Lena, Divine Gateway. Today is a powerful gateway for the interdimensional. A lot of high frequency planet energies are coming into the planet. Now, we're very connected to the solars. We're going to notice that. I'll remind you in the winter, dead of the winter, call it the dead, right? I'll remind you in the dead of the winter, just what the sun does when we have less of it, right? And we notice that. And usually we feel better in the warmer months. It just kind of depends. So with that, we're receiving a lot of solar influxes of energy. We talk about that a lot, and that's something we can track. I have like nice little apps on my phone, and I'm like, oh wow, the solars are going quite high. Now recently I've been learning a lot about things happening on the planet, and when we have less of the solars right now, we tend to, they buffer the galactic energies. I feel the galactic energies kind of push the solars anyway. So whether it's like solar flares or things happening, and once again, those are trackable. When we don't have the solars, we receive more of the energy because they kind of buffer them. Like they get rid of radiation and things that we're probably not that aware of, and things that we're feeling. So we tend to feel, without the mix of the solars right now, we just have a lot of galactic energies. We tend to even feel the effects a lot more too. So this is a powerful gateway today. It's a high frequency day, but of course the apps are real quiet because they only measure the solars, right? They're very connected, but different energies. And these are the energies that I love. I always feel pretty good on them. However, sometimes these are days of like rest, reflection. We're going through a lot of upgrades, a lot of activations. Just kind of depends on where you're at and how you handle some of these energies. But these are the energies we have to get used to coming into the planet that are kind of shaking things up. So we're kind of, okay, well, our bodies are receiving a lot of them, or we're kind of having to get used to it, we'll say. But these are powerful spaces for, once again, things like manifestation, healing certain things, but they push things to the surface. So like, and I see this in people's everyday lives. If you're going through a specific situation, it could kind of come up a little bit more today. Or, you know, you have things you're working on healing and could be amplified and a little more obvious, or just kind of depends with that. But these are divine energies. We want to be kind of connecting with them. They should make us feel a lot better after, you know, some of the eclipse energies and things. The eclipse is like a huge reset, right? It's like a reboot. It's like a huge reset, huge reboot. It should make you feel a little bit better going through that. Make sure that you are tapping into these energies. One of the best ways to do that I was talking about is using them just for like, whether it's healing a challenge or issue or manifesting certain things. Let's do Sam T, letting go. We're doing a huge release of letting go of energies and things no longer serving us. And so it's basically like things that you have outgrown, that version of yourself that resonates with things that aren't good for you. You're changing. We're in this strange place with Libra season where it helps us to find, I talk about balance a lot when I talk about Libra, so it should feel pretty chilled out, the energies. And then we're going to go into, not to get too far ahead of us, Scorpio season, which is rebirth. So we're preparing for that rebirth that we go through. Now, we're feeling those themes really big right now through the collective, where you're shifting into, once again, another version of yourself, a higher version of yourself. And if there are things that you're no longer resonating with, they're probably going to be a little bit loud and clear during this time of what you need to purge out and let go of. And sometimes it's like obvious, like, okay, maybe someone has a lot of laundry to do. That's obvious in the physical, right? It's like, okay, maybe I need to clean up my house or laundry, as we talked about. But sometimes what we're actually letting go of is patterns within ourselves, beliefs, things that are no longer serving us. And that's what this is all about. This awakening is us shifting out of the 3D patterns and beliefs and ways we were seeing the planet that were a little too black and white, and shifting into higher state of consciousness and more like 5D belief system. So that's where the biggest shift tends to take place, and the deepest inner work within your own head, we'll say, right? Like your own thoughts. Your thoughts are creating your reality. And so, you know, we might have a little bit of I call it black and white thinking from the 3D of everything is like this. That's duality, right? Like good and evil and light and dark and like, you know what I mean? And all this stuff. But as we heal and kind of transcend that, notice that we come out of that separation consciousness, which is like, oh, I'm good. I got it all on my own. I'm fine. It's like the 3D experience of that. And we tend to shift into a higher frequency and much more into like oneness, right? And seeing that in our lessons. So I had someone, it was a little bit like I was talking to someone and I like to put on the real life stuff, and I was trying to tell them, you know, they said they had an issue going on with them, but they were kind of throwing the potato, I call it throwing the hot potato at someone else. like okay, I'm having this happen in my lessons, but they're trying to throw the potato back to the other person or whatever, right? And so that is like typical kind of, you know, we call that projection, you know, everything is this guy's fault and over here, anyone, right? But once you awaken, you tend to see that any of your lessons are your lessons. Like if you're in it, and I mean your everyday lessons, that they're trying to teach you things about yourself. They're trying to help you and to go within and to kind of reflect on certain things and heal certain things. And that is the space of enlightenment, to see, you know, all of this does have to do with you, right? It's coming up maybe to get your attention or to teach you something or to help you with something. And usually it's all more helpful than we think, because our mindset, our ego loves to tell us everything is, you know, terrible or whatever at its lowest, right? Or whatever. And so we tend to, as we are shifting out of the old belief system, I call it the 3D programming, more and more, it's dissolving and it's not working the same. And I mean, collectively, individually, you're kind of like, oh, okay. So this is where we get that deeper third eye vision and insight and kind of see things deeper in our own life and things playing out in our lessons or even collectively and things like that. So this is you're being guided to release things no longer serving you. Yeah, it could be your Facebook list. I'm all for cleaning it up. However, sometimes it's doing the inner work to look within and maybe about what I say current, like stay out of the past if possible, unless it's coming up as a blog, right? Current lessons are teaching you, or, you know, your current thoughts that you're having. And this is a daily thing. I like that. I love the concept of having a new day, going to sleep and we start a new day. And I'm just kind of like, okay, day by day. So day by day, right? Checking your thoughts. If you're like in negative thoughts, not going there, choosing to shift what you're focusing on, you know, focused on higher things. Like in the higher, we're going to focus on dreams, goals, manifestations, things we're working on. In the lower, yeah, the fear spirals, right? Okay. And those are just purges. That's what they are. So trying to stay out of, you know, negative thoughts and purges that we know are a bigger obstacle and holding us back, and just to stay aligned with, you know, what you'd like to happen. We can be in that fear state of like, I don't want this to happen, right? But our thoughts are powerful if we focus on it. Trying to stay in what we do want to happen is the game changer of making it happen too. So doing that inner work, continuing to release energy is no longer aligned with you. Sometimes that isn't everything outside of you and pushing everyone away. Sometimes it's, you know, the deeper inner work too. Okay, I'm going on that note, but I'm sending you so much love and good energies. I'm here if you guys need me. I pinned today's healings and activations, hopefully all over Facebook this morning, but they're on my video if you're looking for them, or you can just find them on my website. Have a beautiful day. If you need me, just go ahead and book me on my website, sparksofdivinelighthealing.com.